I think that is really hard to do, because to me, what Perfect is doing today is really the best of what we could expect from him, right?
Yeah.
I think that he is doing his very best at not giving Kiin any advantages, not ended up going down in side lane, which is something that he really struggled with throughout the year. The reality is just that finishing and successfully completing the Kiin test is a nightmare for any top laner. It's why Kiin has been held in such high regard for so long, despite the teams that he's been on. And Kiin has been looking the same, I think, as we saw him really throughout most of this year. I think save for Ruler, but for Chovy, he needs to step up big time in this next game. Kenyon, I think, is still kind of akin, some good moments, some not so good. But even with BDD's rise in form domestically, Chovy has always been able to match him. That head-to-head is very firmly in favor of Chovy for a reason as well. But we're not seeing that thus far, and he has talked so much about the pressures. Thus far, it feels like he is buckling underneath them.
At least a little bit. We'll see how it ends up being across the course of 5 games in the series, but KT have definitely shown more soul today than people expected from them. Shown more perseverance, more resilience than people expected from them. Because we all talk about KT when they made Worlds beating Gen.G 3-2, and we rarely talk about the fact a week later they met and they lost 0-3. Gen.G just wiped them away. Here we are in draft for game 3. Aurora, Kai'Sa and Trundle banned away by KT. Wukong and Janara, the bans. Azir, the one that rises in priority for this final ban from Gen.G.
Yeah, no ban on Azir or Orianna yet. So at least one of them is going to go through. And I think if one of them is going to go through on red side, you're not going to ban the other because you want to go for a trade. So that is going to be the option here.
That's BDD Azir. That's there's a couple of mid laners in the LCK that don't get to play this champion. And this is one of them for very, very good reason. Was there when I was moaning about Renekton and Azir, was a big reason for why they kept doing that. BDD gets his pigeon and will be feeling great here. Chovy gonna be trying to play for lane, I do imagine, with the Orianna, but with how his laning has been thus far, that's going to be a tall ask, because BDD has been able to make so many highlight moments. And again, it feels like every LCK mid does this on the regular, but even amongst those, he often stands out.
Pantheon Orianna seems like a pretty powerful 1-2 there. Can definitely put a lot of pressure on. It does feel like, though, you know, you want to see Kenyon trying to get aggressive to maintain that pressure that he's been able to put on. Had a really creative gank in last game, early on that Xin Zhao, came from an angle that BDD didn't expect, was able to really help out in that mid lane matchup. And, you know, when you talk about BDD on Azir, this is absolute comfort. You want to put pressure on him. You don't want to allow BDD to play his game comfortably. Poppy, I think, is a great pick here. It's a good answer into the Pantheon, and it also combos well with the Azir because you can swoop them back into the Poppy stun. You can set up really effectively with that. And Cassante is a great takeaway from Kiin. It's something that should be harder to punish for Kiin as well. So the first 3 feel super solid for KT.
The bird plus Poppy combination is one we've seen work a few times so far at this Worlds. Azir and Anivia, both combined with the Poppy to slam people into those wolves. The Cassante from Perfect, just looking to survive the top lane, really. He's been doing a really good job of it. The Sivir now locked in for Ruler. There's scaling on both sides already. Like these are team fight comps just from the first 3 picks.
Yeah, I do like the Sivir into the Azir specifically, being able to spell shield a lot of the threat. Then the Poppy is also still a flex, which I do appreciate. Could go towards Cuzz, could go towards Peter. If you put it towards Cuzz, you're really playing more towards those early game dives. And as we already highlighted, playing towards that Azir. If it goes to Peter, Cuzz still gets the opportunity to pick one of his trademark picks, go towards something like the Sejuani that he has been known for a very long time. As some of the things we've seen, the Zeri ban actually coming through, even though the pick has not been at the forefront of Worlds thus far.
No, it hasn't at all, but sometimes as you get deeper into Fearless, people are just looking for hyper carry plus Enchanter. You know, maybe that's something that they were a little bit concerned about. I always do have worries about Sivir into Azir simply because it does scale really well, but you're so heavily outranged that it can be difficult in these fights to actually step up and be able to play them effectively. Blitz as a ban is really interesting. Like, it is a Duro special, and it's one of those things where I'm just wondering, is that telling us that you are going to go for more of a lane dominant support? Are you going to be playing something more along the lines of like a Karma or something, an Enchanter, that you're more concerned about those matchups? Yes, you can use it into melee matchups as well, and it is a Duro special, but that's kind of where my mind goes.
And that makes sense to me. Duro has been really, out of nowhere, seemingly the guy that has been able to be actually one of the rocks for Gen.G. In a large part of summer when Kenyon was underperforming, it was Duro that picked up the slack. So the double bans going towards him, I do think, are completely warranted, even though there is still technically the potential for a flex. And we have talked a lot. Kiin's champion pool is deep. This man has been playing League of Legends for a very long time, and he knows Cassante like no one else.
This would be hype. I mean, GP has been falling out of the meta. This, I believe, more maybe moving in towards like an Aatrox or something along those lines.
Yeah.
That seems like it makes a lot more sense. GP would have been really, really hype.
Even
though.
he was disappointed. He's like, guys, don't trust me. I can do it.
I just want to be a pirate for my world skin, guys, for the world skin.
Fun.
Yep.
Halloween was yesterday. Let him dress up.
That is true. That is true. Instead, the Aatrox will be locked in for Gen.G, something we do commonly see into things like the Scion, things like the Cassante. Really scales up well as well, especially when you're playing these like front-to-back team fights. You can get a lot of autos
Lulu
down
Jinx
with the Sundered Sky. It does work well. Lulu Jinx would make sense for KT. You've got a front line, you have a Poppy, you have a Cassante, you've got the Azir.
Oh.
Ashe as well can do a huge amount of work. We saw Guma on it yesterday having a stellar performance, and there's the Lulu alongside it.
Yeah, so is that Lulu? You know, I was thinking Enchanter once I saw that Blitzcrank ban. I actually think I like this more than the Lulu Jinx, to be honest, because I was going to say they are kind of light on engage, right? And so this does give you a bit more of a primary go button. And when we look over what they have so far, there's no one that really wants to tank that arrow, right? Like anyone who gets hit, it could be pretty dangerous for them. So Leona does make a lot of sense, you know, does help them as far as the primary engage. If you bring Pantheon down towards that bot side, you can look to try to prey on the Ashe as well as the Lulu, who can be quite vulnerable. That is kind of the push and pull that you are having here. But a lot of scaling over on the KT side, really strong front to back. They have some great denial for the engaged tools with both the Poppy as well as the rejection of the Azir with Polymorph and Wild Growth and all of these tools. So honestly, I kind of tend to favor the KT draft.
KT, I think, have an extremely well-rounded draft. It does, for me, stand or fall by how well the bot lane can do, because I think both mid and top are going to be very heavily shoved in, are really going to be having a tough time in the early game. So there is, what can Cuzz do? Can he set up either for Perfect or towards BDD? And then on the flip side, what can Canyon do? Because with two winning lanes in the top side of the map, and Ruler and Duro, I think, going to struggle in this matchup, what are his decisions going to be like?
Yeah, I mean, it's just always so hard, right? Because you can try to look at the draft in isolation, and then you read the nameplates, and you're like, oh, maybe the Gen.G draft does win, right? You know, they're just kind of that team that can execute on anything. But it is going to be an exciting one. I really like the risks I think that KT are taking. I think they took a couple good ones. And BDD Azir is something that you can count on and have been able to count on for so many years.
A single best of 3 between these two LCK teams, and the finals between that spot in the heavens that they talked about earlier today. For Chovy, a final chance to show that on the international stage he can perform just as well as he can domestically. For KT, the chance to keep the Cinderella story going. Have they found the perfect slipper? Or will they be turning into pumpkins? 3 games between them, and what could be a glory in the League of Legends space. For now, both teams just normal line of scrimmages. You can see deokdam and Peter did start up towards that top side. I wonder if we'll see a swap. Cassante would survive that a lot better than the Aatrox, but Aatrox can still farm from range with his Qs, so it looks like we're just going to have a traditional top lane v top lane, bot lane v bot lane.
Nothing too crazy yet. Not looking anything too unorthodox in rune setups either. Do see, with that lethal tempo, just the power of Ashe in general, as well as Peter with the Airy, would obviously expect this early laning phase to be heavily in favor of deokdam and Peter. We already also highlighted the power of that Ashe arrow, because I think the pick on KT is actually great. You know, if you can get a stun into the wall, but once you get to the later team fights, that opportunity just isn't always going to be there. So having the arrow and no cleanses either, right? And as you already highlighted, not a lot of members that will be happy to tank this. And
I mean, also look at all the priority they put for this level 1. Double wards in the side brushes here, so that Duro cannot sit in a side brush whatsoever. So KT, you know, did put the emphasis on getting this vision down here. And look at the poke. I just don't think that Duro expected both of those side brushes to be warded out.
This also weakens Duro's level 2, because he has to take the Eclipse at level 1, which means he doesn't have the Zenith Blade Shield of Daybreak stun combo. So he's now waiting for level 3 before he can really have an impact when he goes in.
Yeah, when your health is low, you can't really look for the all-in because it can turn so bad for you. So you always have to think about how the exit from the trade is going to be against Lulu and Ashe, because if you go in there, you get a great initial trade, but then all of a sudden you're polymorphed, you're slowed up, it's very difficult, and you can take so much damage on the way out. So tough start down in that 2v2. You talked about how it was going to be critical for them to have success in that 2v2 Chronicler, and level 1 definitely going their way.
It's not just that, it's that on the enemy team is what I think is probably the best diver that we got. Sivir might be a bit of a struggle if Rula can keep hold of his summoners, but with just barrier, we'll have to see if he can survive. There is definitely an opportunity for Cuzz if they take more damage, but we have seen Ruler and Duro basically just stay underneath the turret, and I think just try and not get traded at all, just so that they aren't really dive targets. Canyon obviously is also towards the bottom half of the map. We do see the coverage in the Tri-Brush ward there as well, so that deokdam and Peter feel safe, just continuously looking for this shove, which will be maintained for now.
Canyon actually also using a really interesting ward around his own blue buff. There's the threat when KT have this push on the bot side for them to invade with Cuzz around the level 3. Cuzz skips his red and you invade towards the blue. You can see Peter's going to start doing it now. And there was a ward from Canyon at his blue buff just to make sure if he had to back away, they still have a little bit of vision around there. KT will invade. There's nothing left for them to take. Canyon's already on his way up towards the top side Scuttle Crab, so it will just be an exchange of the crustaceans between these two junglers.
And I want to highlight something. Chovy TPing first, actually getting the worst trades as Orianna into Azir is not something that we've seen of this player, and it's again a reminder that BDD gonna be up early now. I think Chovy will be able to mostly equalize. Did pull the wave there. So, but the fact that Chovy is in the head is something that, again, it's when we talk about the expectations for this player, we do need to highlight, particularly with Orianna, who in the early levels we've seen be extremely impressive in this matchup.
And I just feel like Chovy, his whole career, he's been synonymous with lane dominance, right? You know, Chovying, people can refer to as just getting all of the CS, never missing anything. He has interviews where it's just so funny. It's like, well, how do you have these incredible CS numbers? Like, well, just don't miss the minions.
Yeah, just order them.
It's simple.
Obviously,
exactly. But yeah, it is a bit of a surprise to see BDD being able to put that pressure on him.
And I think importantly, the surprise is not that BDD is playing well. We expect BDD to play well. He's probably one of the top 2-3 mid laners so far at this World Championship and has been consistently top of the tables through his entire career as the Zenith Blade hits, but BDD should just be able to walk away from this one. Duro will be able to back out as well. Glitter Lance doesn't connect. BDD just constantly slapping him with a few of those early Azir auto attacks.
Yeah, I don't believe in curses, but that you were trying to serve me some evidence there, Medic.
No, I just kept going.
Yeah,
there's no curses.
He's okay.
It's LCK. You don't
fine.
believe in curses? There are no curses.
Well, I don't. I have had many a disagreement with my colleagues on that one.
Oh, okay. So if KT win this series, Atlas will go bald. We agree?
No. That's only very specific. I also feel like I can't do that. You know, he has to do that himself.
Can't promise it for him?
No.
No, you can. He
Even
can't
as
do
a
anything about it.
Like, well, I could do that, but like that wouldn't.
Because you're fleeing to the Netherlands afterwards.
No, but that won't feel fair. You know, I don't want to bully Atlas. That's not nice.
He always bullies you.
Well, yeah, but that's his love language. It's fine. I'm
that's
not
true.
bothered.
That is true. Early doors, not too much happening in this game, which is why we went into LCK mode for a second. Kiin is getting the push here on the top side. Will be able to get himself a plate, winning out on that 1v1 matchup, as expected for the Aatrox in the early game.
Yep, going to be able to have the push there. I mean, Kiin doing very well. Canyon is here, and deokdam might be getting baited a bit.
Just a little bit. Just chasing down Duro and Ruler there, but they don't go too far. Cuzz coming in from the side will spot Canyon with his Oracle's alteration, clear out the ward, and Canyon wisely backs away.
Not seeing any action too early, too crazy here. Thanks to that play from Duro and mid. Chovy is able to maintain parity on the CS. Canyon is about to hit level 6. Both of these junglers, I think, building towards that Sundered Sky, trying to hit that as soon as possible. Canyon obviously going to be looking for side lane plays, and his targets are kind of so-so outside of bot lane because Azir obviously has so much mobility. He still has his flash available. Top is Cassante. Feel like I don't really have to elaborate on that one. And KT going to be using this bot lane prior to start the first rig, and getting early dragons has been really big deal in this series.
It's been huge, right? You know, that march towards Soul, putting pressure on your opponents. Not only do they have the bot lane prio, BDD had first push in mid lane, cheated down towards, so even if there was going to be a look, which we kind of know there isn't, they would have been ready to stop any sort of Gen.G pressure. And now Perfect knows he is the one on weak side. He's got to be careful because really the only thing that Kiin could potentially be doing is looking towards that top lane if he overextended.
Early objective stacking has been 100% predictor of who will win the game so far in this series. If you take the first 2 Drakes, you win. Obviously a little bit of an up and down on the way to getting there, but we will see if KT are able to continue that record going by taking the next one.
See, now we're back in LCK territory, which is taking stats and really honing in on them so that they don't really make that much anymore, but that's what we like.
Yeah.
Can
Herald
flip them
only
as
has,
we like.
Herald has a
truth
50% win rate.
Get in the way of a good story.
It's true.
You know?
Thank you. I knew you would.
I'm with you. I'm with you, buddy.
Canyon is there, but this is K'Sante. Maybe could get like a flash or something. Could be setting up for the grubs that are spawning now.
Perfect will be a little bit annoyed with how this wave is set up. It's a 4v1 as Canyon and Kiin now walk down towards the grubs. Cuzz is on his way across, as is Peter, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow available to deokdam.
Yep, deokdam has that, and they have first move here, so KT definitely want to contest.
Kiin in the back of the pit, and just dash across. Volley from deokdam, grubs begun. KT with 5 Chovies on his way across. Duro stepping forward, flash shield of David finds the stun, Grand Starfall coming out as well. Keeper's verdict from Cuzz, the shockwave, Peter flashes it. Ruler caught out on the backline, pushed away with the Emperor's Divider now. KT can begin to advance. Kiin trying to come in and reinforce his team. Duro shielded just in time, now perfect. Stepping forward, has to flash away himself. And in the end, no one dies.
Duro just playing that so aggressively, getting right in onto BDD, pushing him out of the fight. I thought that KT was going to be able to chase down and get some exit kills, but Duro barely survives with the command protect there from Chovy. Really close fight, but it's the grubs now. The second one going to be going the way of Gen.G.
And it's Kiin being knocked away there by Cuzz that I think ended up making that a very even fight. But if Kiin actually was there, because I think he either ulted for the movement speed or ulted as he got knocked away, and that Aatrox was in the midst of it, one reset, and this fight would just be a complete blowout. So grubs, 2 of them will go, but that's still a trade that I think KT is happy with. They're able to get themselves one of the grubs, deny free, and they were the ones who got the early dragon. They did have to pay very heavily, though, when it comes to summoners.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to highlight, is you still have these 3 flashes. The top side from Gen.G all have theirs available. There's only Cuzz with his flash on the KT side. So a lot of vulnerable champions, and we talked about how hard it can be for Ashe, for Lulu, for champions like this if you are getting jumped on. So we'll see if Gen.G can find windows to punish those missing summoners.
Kiin's going to be able to pick up another plate for himself on this top side. About 300 gold ahead now on the Aatrox. Chovy with a 200 gold lead in mid. The bot lane, the advantage for KT. They've constantly had the push into Ruler and Duro, who have survived it well. As far as I can see, yet to lose a plate down here. Obviously, that's been partly because Canyon has spent a little bit of time around his bot side to make sure that deokdam and Peter were always on their tippy toes.
Yeah, deokdam able to get a kill as well, so that means that the gold lead is naturally just going to get even bigger for him. And Ashe is one of those picks that I think just feels great throughout all of the game. You have good early game. As long as you don't fall behind, you do a good amount of damage. And with a Lulu, you get a lot of power.
Emperor's Divide onto Chovy, not under the tower too much. Only takes 1 shot and just walks his way away.
Nice bit of pressure put on there, though, by BDD. And now Cuzz down on this bot side, so they're just going to play super aggressive.
See the damage onto Duro as the Eclipse comes off. He loses that extra armor and magic resistant. Falls down to about 2/3 HP. KT now setting up towards mid. Arrow. Eclipse. Chovy not quite. And it doesn't find anyone towards that top side either.
And Chovy could have had to expand his flash. Not going to be the case. Instead, just going to walk it off for now. That doesn't mean the arrow is down. I think we'll be close to up once we actually get to the dragon. Dragon spawns in about a minute, and that's going to be a big breakpoint. If KT can get to 2 again, it does make so much of the follow macro easier. You can give up a dragon, get a herald, start opening up mid lane. And I think Orianna in particular is really reliant on that mid lane turret remaining standing, because the moment that is gone, Azir can just make your life a living hell.
Yeah, it can be extremely difficult. And you can see Kiin, Even though Perfect had the push again there, Kiin just held the 4 ranged minions. And so Perfect is trying to push up to get this reset, knowing that, again, you can be vulnerable. Obviously, K'Sante, very hard to take down, but if you are pushed up too far in that lane, there is the ability for Kiin and Canyon to run you down, to take you down. And you highlighted it. It had been an issue for Perfect in the LCK, getting picked off in these side lanes, but to his credit, it has not happened at all in this series.
I'd argue not even at Worlds. I think he's actually had a really big step up. And we've had moments from that from Perfect, but he hasn't been able to string it together consistently. It's cool to see the faith for KT being rewarded. Also, I do want to shout out, because we were giving Chovy some criticism early on, and his early laning phase didn't look too good. Now starting to build towards that Chovy lead we all know and love. As
Empress Vite, he tries to flash away from it, he slammed into the wall! Chovy, take a pew! Your church is closed! KT find the kill on the enemy mid, and will turn their eyes towards the Drake.
And that is twice in 3 games. Uncharacteristic bad flashes from Chovy, where he's getting caught, he's getting taken down. Same thing happened in game 1, and now they're going to force the Dragon.
And KT are just going to get it. Gen.G looking to catch someone as they walk out. And Charlie Crystal Hour coming out once again, looking for Duro. deokdam on the chase. Peter there with Glitter on slow. Flash away from Duro means he's not slammed against that wall. KT will accept just that summoner as their price for the chase.
still a really big win here for KT, as Canyon still waiting. Oh, KT, I think that they based.
Jump onto Peter, they look for the engage, then it's played forward, but the wild growth flash from Peter's enough to keep him alive. Use the heal as well, deokdam tries to turn it back around, but doesn't have any vision in that bush to chase the Canyon any further.
Yeah, Ruler isn't that strong, didn't have a lot of mana, and doesn't have a first item yet, but Chovy, I haven't finished my sentence yet, or he just gets swept. Doesn't get the flash, immediately gets slammed into the wall. And again, that's with BDD not having his flash.
Oh my god, he got solo killed.
Grand Starfall in from Canyon as he looks for the chase onto BDD, but BDD still has the flash, and he'll jump over the wall! They call him BDD for a reason, as he outplays Canyon and Chovy.
That is massive for the game. 2-0 for BDD. You get out the flash here. And now I think we're just going to see this solo kill one more time. He doesn't even have his ult, so Chovy must have just overcommitted to this, and I'm assuming BDD just slides in, and you're just going to get auto to death. I mean, he procced the phase rush. The phase rush expires. You cannot stand around like that. You need to be able to exit the fight. BDD is looking to take this one over.
Great use of the soldiers there as well, getting all 4 of them to slide into Chovy, who is now relegated to a side lane. A couple of years ago, this is where he lived when his team was behind. Here, still yet to finish a first item.
He absolutely is, and Chovy, we have to talk about his history at Worlds, because there's been a number of times over the years where you thought, surely this is the year that they're going to be able to win. Has yet to make it to a final. BDD final again!
Chovy! BDD takes a couple of towers, so it takes 3! BDD just dies! Cuzz will get 1 in response, but the shutdown gold over to Chovy.
And Chovy getting that shutdown, absolutely pivotal. It felt like if that doesn't come through, he's just straight up out of the game. But now we see the gold, at least mostly equalized. Canyon doesn't have his ult, and KT has started this up. TP comes in.
Now looking for the fight here around the Herald. Counter TP being used as Perfect's going to join the fight. Kiin in the back of the pit. Perfect's there, trying to act as that front line. Looking for the eye. The solar flare, deokdam immediately cleanses away from it. Canyon dives in, a great steadfast presence stops Duro from coming in. The TP first is going to be BDG joining the fight. Kiin forced up towards the top side. Perfect's going to 1v1 him with the all out, and now the charge forward from KT. They find 3 as Gen.G are left reeling.
Gen.G are wiped from the map. KT just outplay them. They get the Herald. They're going to keep pushing here as well. Look at Perfect trying to threaten the wraparound if Gen.G's carries overstay.
And it's an elementary mistake from Gen.G. It was just a teleport disadvantage. Chovy doesn't have TP, BDD does. And so, with an extra member, as BDD looking for mid, looking for bot, gets the charge, and KT builds a gigantic lead in this game number 3.
That is huge. Just look at where the gold is too. It's all on the carries. We can watch this one more time. Duro was missing his flash from that bot lane play. And when he tries to go for the engage here, Cuzz is just ready to immediately reject it. instant cleanse there from deokdam, and then there's the rejection. Duro has no choice but to just run, but deokdam is crushing them, and the TP from Azir is coming in, so they can't even turn to stay.
You talked about it, Azel. You don't get away from Ashe and Lulu when you're on the back foot. You need to be stepping forward into them. A great fight for KT now. The game truly in their hands. 4,000 gold ahead at 17 minutes. 3.5, 2 Drakes, a Grub. This is the largest gold lead we have seen this early in one of these games.
And KT, there are a lot of comps where you look at Camtech Dragon, you go, I don't know. This is a really good one, gang. There is Cassante, there is Poppy, and there is a Lulu, and those three alone are going to get you so much value. Poppy is already harder to kill thanks to her passive when she gets low. We have Perfect, who obviously is in that fight, by the way, which we didn't even really get to talk about. Just straight up 1v1 Kiin.
Enchanted Crystal going down. There's Keeper's Verdict as well. Ruler doesn't get the chance to move. Duro has the flash, takes the Chemtech Blast Cone to get himself to safety, but KT will take the blue. They'll steal the jungle. Gen.G on the ropes, reeling. It feels like one more punch will be the knockout blow.
It really is feeling that way. And Cuzz and BDD, I'm remiss to say it, but it's starting to feel like that upset series where they are just playing out of their minds in this one. It took incredible performances from Cuzz and BDD. It took some uncharacteristic mistakes from Chovy as well. And I really am starting to feel the possibilities ramping up more and more for KT here. They're fully in control. 4K lead, sole point. This will put them to match point against Gen.G.
And it's Chovy making so many mistakes. It's deokdam.
And Starfall onto deokdam. Does have the flash. He's going to use it to get across the red pit. Can't do it in time. Solar Flare from Duro finds its mark. Chovy gets the shutdown and closes that gold gap.
And this is where the resilience of Gen.G really will get tested. Their composition, there are elements of scaling that work well. Aatrox, once you get towards those 2 free items, the Orianna, the Sivir, but for me, it's much more about how they look, the hesitancy in teamfight. You can see the doubt creep into their play in real time, and this is coming from a team that within the LCK, within MSI, within the entire year, has played with the utmost confidence.
They absolutely have, and I mean, that's the first KP that Canyon has this game, right? You're 19 minutes in on the Pantheon. He hasn't been able to find any successful place until that moment, and deokdam decides to hold on to the flash, which I think was the right call, right? You know, because there's no objective for them to grab after that. You want to be ready to go if there's a big Otacon fight. You want to be ready to go for this potential soul fight here in 3 minutes and 45 seconds. And KT has got to stay laser focused, eyes on the prize. It's all about objectives in this game.
The one thing KT needs to avoid at all costs is either deokdam or BDD getting caught, but this is where I think the composition really does favor them, because look at the tools they have to keep their 2 carries alive. There is Cuzz with his ultimate and his W. There is Perfect with the Cassante, and then there is a Lulu to add on top of that. So actually taking down deokdam, who by the way has Flash and Cleanse, or BDD, who by the way still has his Flash, or really any of the members that isn't Peter if he massively oversteps, just seems nigh impossible, and in 3 minutes, Gen.G is going to force to fight that. And KT, all I want to say is respect Otacon, please.
You absolutely have, and we already talked about the power, the chase down power that KT's comp has. Well, Rylai's is done now for the Azir as well, so there's so many slows, there's so many tools to chase you down and punish you if you misstep at all on the Gen.G side. KT know this is a game that is going to be about objectives. They're sweeping out this vision. They do kill it fast, but do not flip from this position. You can just play from Soul. There's no need, in my mind, to be able to just force an Otacon.
Canyon looking for the flank here. BDD's going to push the wave in. Does still have that Empress Divide in the flash. And puts the ward in. Canyon backs away. BDD slides forward, uses the Empress Divide. The Aegis Assault didn't even need to block it. Just a little bit quick there from BDD. Thought perhaps, we can pick the enemy jungle and then start the Otacon. KT clear out the vision once again. I was going to say, for KT, don't fight before you're actually stronger as well. There's 2 items on Chovy and 2 on BDD. Although you have a gold lead in the jungle, it's still an item apiece. Your gold lead hasn't actuated into actual items yet. It hasn't become that strong, so you can just wait it out. You're already 4K ahead. Just take it slow.
Well, they are not going to do that. They are pulling it for now. And we'll see. It looks like they are going to let this one reset. But that was a really risky moment here, because Canyon, when he got spotted out, I mean, if you get connected there, you probably at the very least lose your flash. But had he gone down, then the Otacon is a very real possibility.
In the last game, it was Cuzz that had a big mistake, was the one that kind of inadvertently set up Ruler in a position to carry, right? Gave over the early shutdown, not this time!
Yeah, to Chovy, perfect here! Pathmaker will find Chovy, and he doesn't get a chance to move! KT once again, kill off the enemy mid!
What a beautiful CC chain! That was flawless! The Ashe arrow, then the flash Pathmaker, then Cuzz comes in from the side, stuns him against the wall. Now you force the Otacon for sure!
You have to flash that. There's just no excuse. Chovy thought he could walk it up with the movement speed. Not the case. That's just Otacon gonna be gone. And Gen.G are looking at yet another semi-final of despair.
Battered and bruised. They'll have one more game to try and get themselves back off the mat, but for now, KT take total control of Game 3. Kiin will get a tower down towards that bottom side, 22.5 minutes in. BDD will get KT's third of the game. The Petals relatively close, even though KT picked up the Otacon, but they have feats. They have more than 1,000 gold lead in 3 of their lanes. And they have Gen.G on the ropes.
And they have still every summoner except for Perfect Splash. That's all they expended. So it wasn't like they fully oversent it. They're ready to go for this fight. This soul fight, you have to stop them right here as Gen.G, or I think this game is just wraps.
We'll have to see. Gen.G, there are a couple of strong members, Kiin and Chovy, but it does really just feel like KT is running the rift.
Perfect with the phase check, the slam into the wall. The arrow follows up, and once again it hits Chovy somehow. Gen.G on the retreat, KT will back away, don't have to go any further. They still have the Keeper's Verdict, the Emperor's Divide. They use the Redemption to top up Perfect. They turn their eyes towards the Drake Soul for them. Canyon a long way away, has that Grand Starfall. Kiin gonna try and flank across here. Could use the World Ender. Starfall in from Canyon, looks for the steal, but immediately he's yeeted. The Keeper's Verdict finds him guilty, and Emperor's Divide knocks the World Ender into the middle. The Shockwave finds KT, but Duro dives in, and the rest of Gen.G just can't follow him. KT claim the soul, they claim the kills, and they claim Gen.G's lives.
KT is just running through the fight. Chovy's in trouble. BDD's going.
BDD can still chase them in. He's the only one left alive. Chovy stands alone as KT clean up the fight.
And that is a 5-for-1 soul for KT. The Shockwave doesn't matter. Chovy unable to find anything. Canyon immediately yeeted out of the pit. And that is KT about to go up to match point against Gen.G.
Cuzz, the timing was perfect. Canyon ults in, immediately knocked out. And then BDD on the side catching Kiin, knocking him into the stun of Cuzz. They're looking like Shaq and Kobe out there. BDD and Cuzz are just on it right now. They're playing with no reservations, with no fear, and it is a beautiful thing to see on the world's largest stage. Look at the timing. He's not even there for a moment, then BDD says that is not enough. We will take even more, ends the world of Kiin, and just keeps the pressure going.
And there's not enough damage. Ruler doesn't even have a second item. Chovy's Shockwave is only set up for a play that never comes. And Gen.G are staring down a roller coaster of all the teams. All these years of this organization, so many have tried and so many have failed. And is it really going to be this roster that does it with Peter that has been subbed out earlier this year? But we're going back to his Nongshim days where he has been in the position before where they weren't the favorites, where they were able to get crazy wins. A Perfect that has been so often criticized. Yeah, I mean, Cuzz and BDD, we've known you were good. You've been good for a very long time. I really don't have a cool redemption story for you, although that Longju final or semi has got to be on their mind.
Now KC setting up around the Baron, just trying to deny vision away from Gen.G. No inhibitor towers did fall after that Chem Tech Soul fight. But KT, they're 9,000 gold ahead. 3 items on BDD, the Leandry's complete. For deokdam, he has a Peter in his pocket to help buff up those autos. Duro and Canyon and Chovy still looking for the flanks. BDD might face check into it. Enchanted Crystal coming out, but BDD uses the soldiers to check for him. His bodyguards as he forces Chovy away. Canyon falls. Duro likely to follow suit soon. Chovy teleports out and dies anyway.
He gets taken down. It's another kill, and it's going to be the Baron here for KT. BDD will not get caught sleeping. Sniffs out the attempted play from Gen.G, goes straight at him, and comes out on top.
It's a victory lap for the roller coaster. Get in now, you get an extra ride for free. As KT take their Baron. Gen.G, the desperation evident. Duro gets found. BDD, you can't fool him like that. And coming into this game, we were wondering, should you really give BDD Azir? And the answer is one of the most resounding no's that we could possibly give.
Kills Chovy, insult to injury as he's TPing out. It's Baron, it's Soul, it's 11,000 gold, it's Otacon. And it is KT getting closer and closer to putting Gen.G on notice, to putting themselves one game away from the World Finals, a tournament they weren't even supposed to qualify for.
It's just the Cinderella story for KT, the rebellion of the underdog. I think a lot of people looked at this series and said the only way KT even have a chance is for Gen.G to drastically underperform, but today it has been KT stepping up time after time. Gen.G trying to defend the top lane inhib. deokdam steps forward, puts the damage down into it. 2 minutes left on this Baron buff as KT take the inhib tower. In the mid lane, Perfect will shepherd in the next wave. The inhibitor falls for KT, and now they move across towards mid.
KT trying to put the finishing touches here. Gen.G has to decide when will they make their final stand. It's still a minute and a half left on this Baron. It's not as though it's about to expire. They've already lost 2 inhibs here. They don't have that bot wave moving for them, but they just want to play through 2 waves. Have these 2 waves synced up and start to really put pressure on the Nexus towers.
Chovy and Gen.G trying to defend the solo player. BDD slides away from it. You can't catch me. Starfall in, but Canyon's locked up. The keeper's verdict knocks back 1. Cuzz goes in for the chase, but can't quite find the damage on the Canyon. But here comes deokdam for the rest of it. Kiin with the whole world on his shoulders as he pops the world ender, but he's stunned up, locked up, and taken out by KT. Another name on the list for KT. They take their destiny into their own hands as they go 1 game away from finals.